Good morning. Well, it's morning where I am. I don't know what time of day it is where you are, but good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you're well. Um, I wanted to get up this morning and come and speak to you all for a while. Just felt the need to. I tried to make a video yesterday, but I was having a bit of a strange day and couldn't even really talk or get the message out. So saved myself up and I've come on today to say hi to everyone. I hope you're all well. This is dragging on a bit, this, isn't it? There's no end game to it, and there's no end date to how long we're going to be in this situation where we're all indoors. And I think that's a bit strange for a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people that are living in fear, living in, anxiety, not sure what the future is going to hold. But really, this is a time where we have to really learn how to live in the moment. And that's something I had to learn with my daughter, and definitely with my pregnancy as well. I'll link the video to the full story of how I came to this work and what happened with all of that. But when I was pregnant, I was very, very ill for 7.5 months of it. I had hyperemesis gravidarum, which is a really intense sickness. Now, it's not morning sickness. It's something very, very different, very extreme. And I was bedridden for months and months on end. And really, that was a form of isolation for me. Please excuse my daughter in the background. That really was a form of isolation for me. I was at home for months, and I actually moved home a couple of times in that time as well. But I was, please excuse me for 1 second. Sorry, I just had to sort out the little one there. Yeah, I was at home, pretty much in bed for 7.5 months, being sick numerous times a day. And I was, yeah, I mean, I could go out of the house if I chose, but I was really in a state where I could be sick at any point and nothing could stop that. So I was really anxious and really too scared to leave the house. I needed water, I needed tablets, I needed a whole pack of stuff just so I could leave the house. Yeah, it was relentless. So yeah, for me, leaving the house really wasn't something I could do. So I very much was isolated. My partner at the time was working constantly, and I was very much on my own with it. And this was a time where I really had to dig deep and evaluate, why was this happening? Why was I here? What was I learning from this? What was I getting from this situation that I needed to learn? And it really forced me to dig very, very deep and realize that there was nobody going to save me from this. There was nobody who was going to wipe it away. There was no pill that I was going to take that was going to take it all away. There was no doctor who was going to magic it all away. There was no counsellor or psychiatric person who was going to take all of my emotional stuff away. Really, the person who had to get me through it was me. And that was the lesson in it. That was the massive lesson, in that I couldn't look outside of myself for someone to save me. I had to realize that that person who was going to save me was me. The person who was going to get me through it was me. And luckily I was growing a beautiful child who also helped me stay strong and stay centered. So really this isolation thing for me is not too alien. I'm quite a home bird anyway, so I like being at home. I like being in my space. It's quite difficult sometimes with having a little one when, you know, we've done everything in the house 100 times. So it's hard to keep things interesting. But luckily I have a really good book, which is like 100 ideas for things to do in the house. So that's a really helpful little book that we can do stuff together. But I've decided to make her a fairy garden outside in the garden. So that will be fun. That will be nice. We go on our fairy walks every day, so she's always asking about the fairies, and we made a wish the other day on a feather that the fairies would come and live in our garden. So that's been a lovely thing, and yeah, I'm going to keep going with that as well. And yeah, the other thing was, and I think it's relevant for this time as well, is that right now we have to really learn to live in the moment, live in right now, in what's going on in our immediate space on that day, on that time. Just focus on that and not think too far in the future or too far in the past, because that's when we start to become a little unbalanced. And that's when we start to feel depression and anxiety, and these are really things that we need to try and stay away from. So this is why it's important to have your support team with you, and communicate with them over Zoom or over whatever means you have, to gather and be that support for each other, because we may be physically isolated, but we don't have to be emotionally isolated. Yeah, and living in the now moment is something that a lot of people don't know how to do, and it's something we have to learn how to do. We have to learn how to evaluate what's happening in their space and what we could do or organize or sort out, and what we actually want, how we want our home to be and how we want to live. And, you know, do we want to have a vegetable patch? Do we want to make some space in the house? Do we want to move the furniture a bit? All these kind of things that will keep you in this kind of this moment, this day, this time, and not get so caught up in all of the information, which it does affect us emotionally. I mean, you can be feeling one thing one minute, and then, you know, you'll scroll through your social media, and then all of a sudden your mood will be completely different because you've read something that's made you feel a bit weird or a bit uncomfortable or a bit worried about something. So we need to protect our energy right now. And this is such a wonderful time, and I keep saying it, this is such a wonderful time to go in really deep and do this kind of inner work, to this introspective work, to release anything that is trapped or is holding us back. And because this is like a big reset, even though it's is not very comfortable with the whole virus aspect. There are so many positives to this time. So many things that are coming up to the surface, so many things that are being released, even old issues and old gunk that you feel like you might have dealt with is coming up again because there's another layer that needs shed. So that's very, very interesting thing that's happening at the moment. And when we come out of this, we will come out of this with our tribe, because the people that don't need to be in our experience any longer will leave our experience, because there's so much information coming to the surface. People are really showing who they truly are right now, and yeah, we will gain the right people, and we will separate from the right people as well. And I think that's an important point to remember, is not to get too hung up on the people that are going to leave our lives. They've come into our lives for a reason, and they have left our lives for a reason. Not everybody is meant to come with us. That sounds a bit negative, but it's not meant to. People that come in and out of our lives are gifts, no matter what the situation is or what happens. But yeah, I really do feel like the people who will come with us through this time, and the people who will connect to, and yeah, I really feel like we will find our tribes. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say today. I'm feeling a little bit more like I can share a message today. I don't know what was going on yesterday. I was, I'm not sure. I had a lovely session the other day, and I love the messages that are coming through sessions right now for clients. The messages that are coming through from the energies and the guides and the higher selves is very, very calming. And I think that's very helpful. This session I had with this client the other day, she wanted to ask about certain things that were happening in this world, and whether some of the information she was coming across was true or not. I'm not going to go into detail about what that was, but we got a yes and a yes to both questions, that these things were happening and this was real. And then I asked if there was any more information that wanted to come through about these topics right now, any more light that can be shed. And the strangest thing happened. There was no verbal communication, but for me personally, I felt this huge wave of really calm energy run through my body, and especially through my legs, like this real grounding, calm energy run through my whole body. And the words that came through me or into my mind were, "It's all in hand." And that was lovely. My client didn't say anything. There was no communication from her higher self other than this wave of energy through my body, and this sort of almost telepathic kind of, "It's all in hand." So, and my client said she felt the same thing as well. So that was really, really interesting that we both had that experience. And that's sometimes how information comes through in sessions. It's not just the verbal, it's energetic. I've had so many experiences in sessions where my body has confirmed something in some way, which I really like. So yeah, that was a lovely piece of information. And that client also, she briefly connected to Nikola Tesla. And that was really, really interesting. I wondered if there was a message that he wanted to bring forward. And the message was very short and sweet. I made a little post about it on my social media, my Facebook. So if you've not liked my Facebook, go over there, because I share little tidbits of messages and things that come through in sessions over there. The message from Nikola Tesla was, open your minds much more. And that's true. It was very, very true. There are a lot of us opening our minds a hell of a lot more right now, because there's a lot of information that is coming to the surface. There's some wonderful documentaries and things that are being released right now, and yeah, it's a very, very interesting time. So yeah, that's what Nikola Tesla had to say about it. Open our minds more. I'm gonna go and check on my little one again. Give me 2 seconds. Hi. Yeah, I have a bored and grumpy toddler. So I'm gonna make this quick and go and see my little girl. But I just wanted to quickly pull a card because I'm really loving this Starseed Oracle deck at the moment by Rebecca Campbell. And again, if you go to my Facebook page, I often post my card readings, sort of every other day type thing. I just do it when I feel called to do it. I don't force myself to do it if I'm not feeling it. I really just do it when I feel like I need to, because I think that's when the best channelings come through, or not channelings, but you know what I mean. The energy that I'm sort of feeling about the collective is confirmed through the cards. So yeah, so I just want to call in spirit quickly so that this child can be seen to, and see if there's a message that wants to come through for the collective. There's a message that wants to come through the collective right now. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Yeah, I guess our little ones are, you know, they're bored, they want entertained, they want stuff happening, but we still have to do stuff. So we just have to find a common ground where we don't do each other's heads in. Yeah, so one of the cards the other day that came up was perspective. It was a couple of days ago. And that was a really nice one, because the thing I'm noticing is that people are very much concentrating, and obviously you have to, is what's happening in your local town, your local area, your communities, you know, your country, your continent, and that's fine. But the thing I always do, and the thing that I feel like we're being called to do right now, is to be looking at this whole situation as a whole, looking at this planet as a whole, looking at humanity as a whole, because we are all going through this together. And I think this is this vibration of, you know, unity that's coming through, that we have to see things as, you know, as we all really are, because we've been so separate from each other for so long, so stuck in our, oh, that one's kind of teetering on the edge. We've been so stuck in our individual lives and our individual rat race type situations. Sometimes it's much more calming. It's certainly more calming for me to look at the situation from a wider, more zoomed out perspective, that we are this tiny, tiny little speck in this corner of the universe, of just one universe. We are like a grain of sand, like a speck of dust. And, you know, what we do at this time, even though we are this tiny little collection of specks in this little part of the universe, what we do at this time affects everything else that happens. not just in our universe, but in every other universe. So the cards that just popped out now were, I'm sorry, defensiveness, righting past wrongs, and uprooting. So yeah, I guess that's partly about being humble enough to recognize when we are in the wrong, or recognize when we have maybe acted in a way that has upset someone, even if it's been unintentional. It seems to be natural for people to become defensive when a wrong has been pointed out, but I think this is a time to be humble and say sorry when you're wrong or when you've upset someone. Writing past wrongs, I guess a lot of people are writing past wrongs. They have a lot of time on their hands. They can really think about situations that have unfolded in their lives, and maybe reach out to the people that they feel that they may have wronged and apologize. Uprooting. There certainly is an uprooting for so many people. Their whole lives are being uprooted right now. So yeah, that's a really interesting card. Double mission is the next one. Lightworker and Starseed. Yeah. Serve the world by being you. Well, that's true. A lot of Lightworkers and Starseeds are very much activated right now, and this is what we're here for, is to carry this vibration of peace and calm through into the collective so that we can assist in this shift that we're going through right now. So yeah, that card is very true. Starseeds are very much, this is what we've come here for. There's many healers and people like myself who do this kind of work for people who know that this time was coming. We didn't know the details or how it was going to happen, but we knew there was going to be a time that would require us to stand up and be a pillar of strength for a lot of people who were maybe in fear or not really fully understanding what was occurring. So yeah, that card's pretty bang on. So yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look at the messages from the actual book. Rebecca Campbell. What was the first one? Double mission. 56. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Lightworker starseeds are mission and purpose orientated. You may have the feeling time is running out, and there's something they came here to do. Create or contribute to. Very true. Collective mission is often answered through career, calling, or by devoting their lives to something. And it's just occurred to me that there's a lot of people right now who are waking up and they are realizing that they have a bigger calling. There's something that they need to be doing, but they're not quite sure what that is. And this is when BQH is great for these conundrums, because it can really give you these answers about yourself and your life and your mission and what it is that you're here to do. So we come across a lot of people who are having these conundrums in their life and trying to figure out why they're actually here. So yeah, I can absolutely see that. There are a lot of starseeds wondering what is it that they're supposed to be doing right now. But a lot of the time with these things, it's you're just supposed to be being you. You're just supposed to be sharing your energy and your light and your love to the world, and that can be so powerful. It can even if your message touches one person, or makes them think, or affirms or confirms something that they've been feeling, that can do so much for someone right now. So yeah. So let's see if there's any. If you pull this card, you're being called to remember your collective mission. Step into it even more fully. You're being reminded that your role as a light worker is to light up the world with your presence. This doesn't have to be a great big thing or decision. You also don't need to have a great big plan. If you resonate with being a light worker, all you need to do is work out what lights you up, your passions and joys, and keep doing that. So yeah, that's, yeah. Certainly with BQH, it's been the one thing that I've found, quantum healing, that has lit me up like nothing else. It's activated me in ways that I've never felt that activated before. And I'm always reminded of the first time I heard Dolores Cannon speak about quantum healing. And it's Dolores Cannon's birthday today, the 15th of April, 2020. So happy birthday, Dolores. I'm always reminded of her talking about it, and she was so calm and measured, and she wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. She was just saying, this is what I do, and this is the effect it has on people. And that was me, hooked. So yeah, so it's Worldwide Regression Week as well this week, which is lovely. If you go over to the Quantum Healers channel on YouTube, there are a lot of events, a lot of speakers, and a lot of practitioners who come and talk about their work and their sessions and what their sessions are like. I have a video that I think is going to be out tomorrow on Quantum Healers channel, which is me talking about my work and my sessions and what it's like to have a session with me. So check that out if you want to go over to Quantum Healers channel. When you trust and follow the path of things that light you up, and then lose yourself in the doing, you'll light up the world without even trying. So yeah, that's a lovely message. So yeah, find what lights you up. This is a time to do that. A lot of people are working from home. They're working sometimes more, sometimes less, but people tend to have a lot of time on their hands right now. So find what it is that lights you up, and do that, and that light will spread to those who are around you. I'll see if there's a message coming through. That I'm sorry card. I'm sorry. 78. We are living in divisive times. We sure are. When you're hurt and triggered, we tend to see things as a personal attack rather than an opportunity for healing. If we're to find true peace and unity, we need to drop the defensiveness and see things outside of wrong and right. To bring about unity, we must first acknowledge the ways in which both we and the world have been divisive, personally, ancestrally, and collectively. The shadows, hate, wounds, separation, severing, wrongs, and sadness. You may be called to explore how you and your ancestors or your society have consciously or unconsciously inflicted pain on others. And that is a big lesson for many, is to step out of the defensiveness and be humble enough to become more self-aware and really figure out where you might have done something that has upset someone. I'm human. I have these situations as well where I have to, I had one just recently where I had to really look at a situation and see how I acted in that situation, and how my actions may have affected somebody negatively, even if it was unconscious. So, it is about being humble and knowing that, we're not always right, and we're not always required to be right. And that it's the ego that's always right. It's the soul that knows that we're human and we screw up. So, and I think this is very relevant for right now as well. To say I'm sorry with an open heart and mean it. To be part of the healing rather than the perpetuation of inherent conflict and oppression. It isn't about blame, it's about unwinding the pattern that got us here. You may be called to devote your time to causes, and you may believe in or do healing work on your ancestral line. And that's true. It came up the other day. Somebody posted something about how traumas and wounds can, I think it's 12 can go down 12 generations. So there's like traumas and hurts and phobias and all sorts that can carry through the ancestral line. It's something that often comes up in my sessions to kind of break that pattern. I know I've had some of my own healing with that as well. Certainly with having a child, it's made me really reevaluate my own patterns and where they come from, and how to heal them. And that's something that we do with BQH as well. My cat is sitting in front of the fireplace. My cat has a new love for my fireplace in this room because there's a family of jackdaws who have moved into the chimney. So, I looked up the chimney the other day, and there's just twigs as far as the eye can see. So they've compacted the whole chimney and they've made a nest at the top. But you know what? I kind of like it. I'll get the chimney swept at the end of the summer. I kind of like that there's a new family settling in with us. I can think it's kind of sweet. It's a bit of a pain having to get the chimney swept, but we have to do that anyway when we have a chimney. So it's nice though, you can hear their little noises in the morning. I'm sure it will get noisier once the eggs hatch, but hopefully they'll not disturb us too much. So yeah, that's my message for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I wish you all a very good day. I hope this has broken up some of the time that you're spending on your Todd or with whoever. That can be difficult as well. I mean, I live with my daughter. I don't have a partner or anything, so sometimes I miss that family connection. But at the same time, I don't have to get irritated by anybody else's ways and little quirks. So I quite like living on my own. But again, I do miss having another adult around to bounce everything off. But yeah, it's just the way it is. So I'm sending my love to everyone, and I still have this quarantine discount going. So if you're wanting to have a session with me, or you feel called to reach out and talk about having a session, or then just reach out, and I'll leave all my links below as I always do, and you can check out my website and all of my social media links. You can give this a thumbs up and a like, and thank you all for being here. I'm so grateful to have my little baby channel growing. And I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Lots of love from me. Bye.